back and forth. Nobody seems to get this answer. So let's hope that we would have a winner today. Thank you, Air King, for liking the live already. Oh, I think you might be a newbie. I'm not too sure. Air King, have I seen you on Insta before? But all the same, you're welcome. So my puzzle for today will come much later when we are, going through this hot discussion. I'll just bring that in to kind of pipe things down a bit. So look out, you might just be our winner for today. And of course, you get a token, a gift, if you get the answer right. But I won't tell us now, I'll tell us later. So I'm going to go into the talk because it's a bit lengthy. It's a very, you can see on the screen, infidelity in marriage. Infidelity in marriage. And I always say, let's dare to go there. Let's talk about it. Before I came on live, I was on a live hangout, program on Zoom. And the topic was something similar to this. I'm like, wow, great mind think alike. Yes, Air King, good evening to you. I hope you're good. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. And somewhat of a similar situation, but we all know that infidelity, whether big or small, whatever it is, however it comes, always would affect a marriage relationship. It steals something off from that relationship. So let's talk about it because it's something that affects marriages. We cannot shy away from it. Some may have experienced it. Some probably are going through it right now. And perhaps some are thinking, maybe I should just do this and just, So let's be mindful. Let us truly be mindful of how we treat our spouses, what we do, because consequences will always come. You cannot run away from it. So I'm going to go into the talk today and we'll see how far we'll go. I cannot cover everything. I've tried as much to package this talk, at least cover bits here and there. So you're here. You listen, you may have experiences you want to share with us, and you may have strategies where we can cope. Or if somebody's struggling with this way of life, what can you say to them to help them overcome this? Because obviously they'll be hurting their spouse. We don't want that. That is not God's intention for us to behave in a marriage relationship. So God will help us truly, and we need to help ourselves as well. So let's go deep into this discussion today. It's a very sensitive but significant issue. Infidelity in marriage. I hope I'm loud and clear enough. Infidelity can be one of the most challenging experiences for any couple, shaking the foundation of their trust and commitment that marriage is built upon. So, however, understanding its causes, the consequences, and ways to address it can provide hope and guidance for those facing or seeking to prevent such challenges. So let's talk about it. If you say, I'm faithful, my wife is faithful, we're good. It doesn't matter, but let's still talk about it because 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, we don't know what's going to happen. But let's talk about it so that we'll bring this to our consciousness and run away from every appearance of it. Otherwise, you stand to break in that marriage relationship. So what exactly is infidelity? So I will break it down some more. Infidelity, simply put, is a breach of trust in a commitment relationship, in a committed marriage relationship. It typically involves emotional, hear me guys, not just physical, emotional, or physical intimacy with someone outside of the marriage, outside of your marriage. Infidelity can take various forms, which will include, I'm going to break it down some more so we can have a better understanding. Some might say, I'm not having an affair with somebody, I'm not did it. But then let's look at various forms of infidelity that a marriage can face or relationship can face. Physical infidelity, which is the most popular one, very popular. Simply means engaging in sexual activity outside the marriage without your partner's awareness. It's like secret or something is always a mistake or whatever. As long as you're engaging in that sexual activity that does not include your spouse, and you're in a marriage relationship, that is physical infidelity. I mean, we all know there's a common one, like I said, but there are other types I want us to pay attention to and examine ourselves. Oh, thank you so much, Viva. Thanks for that gift. Really appreciate that. Yeah, a heart me, as they say. I don't know why I will have to be announcing, oh guys, all I want is just a heart me. It's just one coin. No, I'm not going to do that because I have to be focused. If you give gifts, I appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much. But I'm not going to come here, you know, to be announcing all that. People know to do that. If they want to, it's up to you. Please do not feel some pressurized, let me use that word, to do anything here. But please, I want to plead with you to listen to the talk, so that if you have any contribution, you can come on later and just share with us as well, so we can learn from one another. Another form of infidelity I'm going to talk about is emotional infidelity. Emotional, that's, you see guys, I'm trying to break it down so we can understand, because these things cause problems in our marriage relationship when we don't pay attention to it, when we don't even talk about it. So forming a deep emotional bond with someone other than your spouse, often leading to a sense of betrayal. You can't tell me you want to connect emotionally, you're finding it difficult to connect emotionally with your spouse. Okay, fine, life happens, things happen, and then you find this stranger you're not connecting with emotionally. All the emotional attention you're meant to give to your spouse, you're giving it to somebody else. You might say, oh, I'm not sleeping with them, I'm not. But then this is part of you building your relationship with your spouse. So emotional connection is meant first off with your spouse. How deep or how bonding it is up to both of you, but you cannot go forming very deep emotional connection with someone outside of your marriage. What is the gain to that? How is that going to affect your spouse if they found out about that? You think they're going to be, well done, my dear wife, well done, my husband, carry on? No, I don't think so. It's going to hurt them. They're going to feel pain, and it might, break something in that marriage relationship. So we need to be mindful. You might say, oh, it's not physical infidelity, it's just emotional. Yeah, infidelity is infidelity. You're meant to be committed to your spouse all the days of your life, or till death do you part. As long as you're still in that marriage relationship, it's on you, it's on your spouse to make sure that all of this bonding styles or bonding ways is for your spouse, not for a stranger, not for another man, another woman. We have to be careful and be respectful of our spouses. Another one, again, because of this modern day world technology and all of that, we have online infidelity. Yes, these ones are common, but people overlook it. They feel like, oh, after they're miles and miles away, or they're whatever away. But yeah, infidelity can come as a result of online connection. Engaging in appropriate relationships or activities through social media, dating apps, or other online platforms is wrong. Some you meet hi, and that's it. If it's a professional one, yeah, okay, it's accepted. But as long as they're not flirting with you, sending nude pictures, you know what I mean, guys? This is a form of infidelity, even though you're miles apart. Jima, I see you. Thanks for joining. UG number 21, I see you. Thanks for joining as well. So let's be mindful that we're not committing online infidelity, something you cannot share with your spouse. If your spouse were to catch you online with whoever, can you say to them, oh, this is this person, or say hi, or you can share with them whatever you're doing with this person online. Otherwise, there's a thin line, do not cross it. It's very crucial, do not cross it, because when your spouse find out about that, they're not going to be happy with you, obviously. So please do not engage in such. And even if that is happening and because sometimes you have all sort of people online, show your spouse, let them be up to date with whatever's happening for you. Can you imagine this person? Can you see their social media handle? They've just been bombarding me with this and that. Your spouse might just be able to rescue you from that, rather than keep it away and be, engaging positively with a negative situation. You don't want that, because the outcome is going to be bad. Again, the final one I'm going to mention, there's so many, but I mean, those are the more crucial one, is financial infidelity. Yes. Financial infidelity. You may not have heard of it before, but I'm telling you right now, in case you don't know, hiding financial transactions or maintaining secret accounts without your partner's knowledge. Yes, financial infidelity. A lot of people do this. Some are building houses in one nation. The spouse does not even have the inclination that they're buying bags of cement, let alone building a house, a mansion, or an estate, or whatever it is, a building. That means they are committing financial infidelity. Let's call it that. At least you know what I'm talking about, guys. So if you're hiding your financial transactions, you're hiding finances and spendings and things like that, you're keeping secret from your spouse. That is financial infidelity. I'll leave it at that because I know we get the full gist anyways. So while the definition may vary, like I said, what all forms of infidelity share in is a violation of trust, which is the cornerstone of any healthy marriage. Because when your spouse found out of whatever infidelity you're engaged in, it's not something your spouse will be proud of you for. Are you even proud of yourself for that alone? Ask yourself about this. We need to self-reflect about these situations, this lifestyle. So what causes infidelity? There's so many causes of infidelity. Like I say, because of time, I will have to limit it because it's a bit lengthy talk today. Very sensitive, but we have to talk about these things because it's ruining marriages, it's breaking marriages apart, it's making couples separate. Bonsoir, Aurea. Bonsoir to you too. Good evening. That's what that means. Welcome. I don't know. I wanted to say welcome in French. Oh, my French is really bad. But bonsoir. Let me not try. I'll leave it. Okay. So I'm just going through the causes of infidelity because there's always, causes of this thing. Some stumble on it, some intentional, whichever way, there are causes of infidelity I want us to talk about briefly so we have a better understanding. Some people are even engaged in some sort of infidelity, but they're not even aware that they are. Thank you so much, Aurea. Thank you for that. For the heart to me, I really appreciate that. So infidelity does not happen in isolation. It is often the result of unmet needs, unresolved issues, or personal vulnerabilities. So whichever one, you can put it under those category. But I'm going to mention some common ones. Some common causes of infidelity is emotional disconnection. You might think this is not enough excuse, to commit infidelity, but I'm telling you, these are things that happen. When partners feel neglected or emotionally distant, they may seek validation or connection outside a marriage, or could just simply be promiscuous person by nature. That's why you have to be mindful who you are marrying. Some people, they call them, they have so many nicknames, lover boy, all sort of names for the guy. When they're calling somebody you're dating lover boy, hey, best ask questions. Thank you so much. Better ask questions and don't just say, oh, it's a nickname, or everybody likes that, oh, he feels cool when you call him lover boy. Lover boy of what exactly? Because some people are just promiscuous by nature, and the fact that they found this most beautiful woman with hourglass and all of that does not mean they will not go and cheat. They will not commit adultery or whatever it is. So you need to be careful who you are saying I do too. Of course, I know mistakes happen, things happen, life happens and all that. But when you're dating someone and it seems to be the guy that is treating every girl around, everywhere knows him and things like that, I'll be careful. So red flags, do not ignore red flags, especially such red flags. Ask questions. If you're not sure, don't just sit and assume. Ask questions. And then the second one is, guys, I'm talking about causes of infidelity, is lack of communication. You may be wondering, as in not to talk to one another. So because I'm not talking to you, they find somebody else who's talking to them. And then they start growing this affection towards one another. And then before you know, one thing leads to the other. Yes. So poor communication can lead to misunderstandings, unaddressed grievances, or feeling of being unheard or unappreciated can lead to infidelity. And you know, even when you were dating your husband, your wife, you guys talk all the time on the phone. Okay, bye, love you. You drop and they call back. Oh, I forgot to say this. Oh, do you remember this? And before you know, it's 3 a.m. in the morning. You were always communicating. Even some silly stuff you will communicate. Now you're now in the marriage relationship. You have all the time in the world to communicate with one another. But there's just always a problem. Either you have poor communication, or it's like they're not ready to hear you anymore because you're the catch now. They have you. So, I mean, you know, and these things happen. And when your spouse feels like you don't have my attention, you don't talk to me like we used to, who else am I going to talk to? It will have to be somebody else. And then when you start talking to another person, before you know, you may start getting attached to this person emotionally. Before you know, they're consoling you. Before you know, the deed has been done just because of lack of communication with your spouse. So guys, let's be mindful. Another cause of infidelity is unresolved conflicts. And there's so many conflicts that would happen in a marriage lifetime. Big ones, small ones, little ones that turn big. You know, big ones that become so small. All sorts. I can't begin to go into that. So long-standing conflicts can create resentment and distance, making infidelity appear as a way of escape or a form of retaliation. Some people, maybe your spouse just told you, oh, this just happened and all that. Say, hey, so you can do this to me. I thought I could trust you. I thought this, da. In fact, it's like they just let their own guard down as well. And then the next person that comes, you know, trying to mediate or trying to console them, they just, you know, do the deed with them as well. There's this saying where I come from. They say, do me, I do you, God no vex. But that's not how we live. We don't repay evil with evil. Where is the goodness in that? So sometimes unresolved conflicts can lead to infidelity. So let's be mindful when there are conflicts, especially unresolved ones or very difficult conflicts couples do go through. Please seek help. Be open and honest with one another. Seek help if you have to. Don't be ashamed because you don't want that marriage to break up. And God helping every one of us. Again, another cause of of infidelity is opportunistic behavior. Sometimes infidelity occurs not because of dissatisfaction, but due to unexpected opportunities, such as close proximity to someone attractive in a workplace or in a social setting or in a gathering, a group of people. So don't be that opportunistic and feel, oh, after all, there's no excuse. In fact, I'm trying to look for an excuse to make. There is no excuse. Don't just say, oh, because this person at work, you know, they're so attractive. So, is your wife not attractive? You married this person. Is your husband not handsome? You married this person. Sheikha, thanks for joining. Grace, I see you. Thank you so much for joining. Shine Bliss, you are welcome. So don't be an opportunist. Don't feel, oh, because this person at work is friendly, nice, they're just down to earth and all that, and then you're looking for what is not. Must you? Especially when you have a spouse at home. Let's be mindful. And if you feel that connection is becoming unbearable, excuse yourself from there. Find an excuse to not be in their proximity if need be. Otherwise, you put yourself in trouble. You know, our marriages were supposed to be sacred in dealing with our spouses. But a lot of us will bring all sort of excuse to do and undo. Maria, I see you. Thanks for joining. Again, another cause is personal issues. Some people have low self-esteem, personal insecurities, or a history of infidelity in their past relationship can increase the likelihood of betrayal. Some people who have low self-esteem and they're married, they're still struggling with this low self-esteem, and then maybe somewhere at work, in their profession, wherever, they see this very extremely high standard person they're looking at, and this person comes to, excuse me, can I know you? Flirting with them, and they feel, oh my God, this person. And they just forget that they're married for a second. And then they go with this person flirting with them, and before you know, all these personal insecurities lead them astray. And sometimes because some people in their past relationship, they have been unfaithful like that, and now they want to sit down, settle down with this person, but that nature, they haven't dealt with it. It's still there within them. After 1 year, they're just looking to and fro, looking for another catch outside of their marriage. So a lot of things can cause infidelity, but we need to bring it to the forefront. Kingsley, I'll see you. Thanks for joining. Let's think about it. Please, let's be consciously aware of it, so that we don't hurt our spouses, we don't hurt ourselves. And some cases, you have children involved in that relationship, you're just about to mess up. So let's be careful. Again, cultural or social influences can lead to infidelity. So societal norms that glorify extramarital affairs or diminishes the sanctity of marriage may also contribute to infidelity. Some may feel, oh, you've been married for so long. Have you been unfaithful to your wife? Oh, I've done it like a few times. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the woman, I'm the whatever. Just to feel you belong in that society or in that group of people. Just to talk big, like something bad like that can make you feel big. I don't know why somebody will be proud of that. Meanwhile, you're hurting somebody, because the day your spouse gets to know, I wonder if you still be that proud. Yes, I'm the man. Let's be careful, guys. So don't let any cultural or social influences influence you to want to belong to the people that commit infidelity against their spouses just so because you want to belong. It's not a good way to belong, please. Let people find you doing something tangible, something respectful when you want to belong. That is my take on that anyway. Linda Opoku, thanks for joining. And the last one I'm going to mention again is life's transition. It can cause infidelity. Major life changes. I bet you've heard this 1,000,001 times, but I'm going to say it anyways, such as childbirth, or the birth of a child, a career shift, or aging can cause stress or feeling of inadequacy, leading to extramarital relationship as a way of coping. Some women, they've just had a child, sex to them, it's like, no go. And sometimes it could go on 6 months or whatever, and then it's like you've just left this man hanging and he's impatient, and he just feels, oh, before you know, he goes to the bar, sits there and wallowing in why my wife is not doing this, that. And then this beautiful damsel walks by and just catches his eye, and it be like, oh no, oh, I can't do this. And then he's feeling this urge, you guys, yourself, and you're feeling like, oh, you want to feel this, you want to feel that. Before you know, you just go approach this woman you've never met before, and God help you, she's a loose type, let me put it that way, at all. Good to see you, brother. And then she's like, oh, and you're even in a bar where there's a hotel or something. All you have to do is just go and pay for one room. It's just under 1 hour, 5 minutes, whatever. And do the deed. And then you clean your mouth, clean your face, and off you go home, like pretend nothing has happened. It could be the woman as well, don't get me wrong. It's just, the one that readily comes to mind, because I like to balance things. Not just men that commit infidelity, women do too as well. So I'm not here, I don't want to be gender biased. Everybody does these things. Is it right? No. So that's why we're talking about it. Could be that woman just sits in the bar and the man walks past and the man just winks. All it takes is just a wink because she feels neglected or whatever by the spouse. And then before you know, the deed is done. Sometimes it could be a career shift. You've changed your career and now you're doing more things. You're meeting new people. And you start lusting after some new colleague or whatever. And before you know, the deed is done. extramarital affair. Some people, it could be a one-off. Some people, they carrying on full-on affair with this person and not minding how they're going to affect their marriage relationship. Hey, guys, we need to be careful. So I've talked about the types of infidelity, and I've talked about why it happens. Let's look at the consequences of infidelity, because if I don't say this, I don't think I'll do justice to this talk today. Consequences of infidelity. Infidelity can have devastating effect on a marriage, on a relationship, and the individuals involved as well, whether you're the committer or the committee. Don't let me go there. But you know what I'm trying to say. Whether you're the one that is committing infidelity towards your spouse, both of you are going to get hurt at the end of the day. So don't feel, oh, I'm the one that did it, it's only me that will. No, it's your spouse that probably will feel it the most. Blessed one, I see you. Thanks for joining. Please help share this live to your friend. Click that on your screen. Names will pop up. Yes. Click send. Thank you so much for sending already. Really appreciate that. And thank you for the likes as well. So what are the consequences? Let's look at it. It has a very devastating effect on marriages. That's just the truth. That's why I say let's dare talk about it, because sometimes when you don't say certain things out loud, it's like it's not real. But when you do, it's like, oh my God, it pricks something in your heart, and then you think twice, 3 times about it, and then you can respond positively towards whatever it is. So erosion of trust. There is no how. You will tell your spouse you've committed infidelity, and they'll say, oh, I trust you some more. In fact, I love you. Whatever trust is there is broken. Is broken. I'm telling you, no matter how jovial your spouse is, no matter how forgiving your spouse is, you will break that trust you have with them the moment you say you have done this. So rebuilding trust after betrayal is one of the most challenging aspects for couples dealing with infidelity. Because even when they see you talking with the opposite sex, the mind, that thing comes back. Even though they've forgiven, they've tried to forget and all, the moment they see you and you just laugh and hit the person like this innocently, their mind will start playing tricks on them. Oh my God, is he sleeping with this one too? Is he having an affair with this one? And then they start making trouble with you. So if you don't want to put your spouse in that position, be mindful. Commit your infidelity with your spouse. If I can put it that way. Play games with one another. Pretend you're each other's boyfriend. Pretend you're each other's ex. If you want to do that, everything you want to pretend with your spouse. Because it's safest that way. Pretend she's your ex. You just meet in your bedroom and, things happen. Laugh it off. Get it over with. Guys, I don't know how else I can help us with this, but it's very crucial because we want to enjoy our marriages, and such acts of infidelity is not going to help us enjoy our marriages, and that's truth. So it erodes the trust you have for one another. And imagine somebody who's confessed to their spouse they've committed infidelity or adultery or whatever, and even your spouse forgives and all of that. The moment your spouse, you see your own spouse talking to the opposite gender and they're laughing with them, because you have committed that, you think they are doing that too. And you start behaving funny. Your mind starts running wild because you know what you've done. And now you see your spouse talking to anyone, everyone. You think, could they be too? Would they have done this? So, okay, I'll stop. Anyway, it creates consequences again, emotional pain. That thing, it can give somebody trauma in their heart to the point that heart aches, as in your heart will really be aching. I'm not talking about, what is that? I'm talking about literally feeling the heart pain in your heart because your spouse you love so dearly has just done this thing to you. And you feel that the betrayed partner may experience feelings of anger, sadness, humiliation, and betrayal. More so that whoever you said you've slept with or whatever is somebody they know. Oh, I need a moment for you, for us. Guys, Okanem1, I see you. Thanks for joining. Your spouse will feel humiliated, like you stoop so low to be with this person, or you stoop so low that you've just thrown everything in our marriage out of the window just like that. So the unfaithful partner may feel guilt, shame, or confusion as well. Maybe something they've never done before. They've been married 10 years, and whatever happened, whatever the excuse is, it happens. And this person that has committed infidelity is feeling all this shame, is even feeling confused. How did I get myself here? How did this happen? I can't believe in my lifetime I did this. Of course, that can happen as well. Emotional pain, you feel guilt anytime you hear your wife talking to someone. Your heart will race. Could it be that somebody is telling them what I've done? All this torture is not good. It's not a healthy way of living life, guys, please. And another thing is impact on the family. I'm talking about the consequences of infidelity. How is it going to impact your family? When children are involved, infidelity can disrupt family dynamics and lead to feelings of insecurity or mistrust in relationships. That's why a lot of people, their backgrounds, the home they grew up in, they've come from a broken home because of infidelity. And they just see, okay, what's the point? What's the point of being respectful to this one person after my parents did it? What's the point, So their level of discipline is gone. Their high level of discipline, they don't have any level of discipline where infidelity is concerned. They see as another way of life. They don't hold that sacredness in marriage with high esteem, and they just do that and do that. But at the end of the day, who is the person that would go and commit infidelity and come home and say, guess what I've just done, my love? I've just gone to do this, like it's a good thing. Tell me your love will say, well done, you did it today. Oh, good, thank you, well done. Hello? You know that whatever you've done out there, you cannot come home boldly and say to your spouse, you've done this straight away. Except you're sober and you're remorseful and you're guilty or whatever. You can't come home and announce it like it's a good thing. So it impacts the family. And of course, you might hide it from the children. Sooner or later, they're going to find out the reason for your separation, or the reason why there's this conflict, or the reason why something has just been broken in this family. Because children are very inquisitive. You may think, oh, they're children, they don't understand. But they know something is down. Something is just not right again. And they will even tell you the date they noticed that something just changed between mommy and daddy. So let's be careful. It won't impact just you yourself, not just even your spouse, but your children as well. So let's be careful, guys. It's very important we help our family grow in a positive way. Then again, talk about the consequences, health risks. Oh my goodness. Physical infidelity carries the risk of sexually transmitted infections, while the stress of betrayal can lead to mental health issues such as depression and anxiety. I know of people, I've heard of people who were so heartbroken to the point that insomnia sets in, depression sets in, suicidal thoughts sets in, because it was too much of a shock. Maybe it's the level at which they're loving their spouse that, that same level, they took the shock. Some may actually even lose their mind when they hear of their spouse's, infidelity activities. Some people lose their mind, whether man or woman, because they cannot comprehend in their wildest imagination that my spouse would ever do such a thing. So the shock hits them real to the core of their being. And some people mentally are affected. Some people may not just even recover fully from that. Some will just think all men are, all those things they say, all men are scums, all women are peace. I don't want to use the full thing. You know what I mean? Kadi, welcome. Help. Let's help one another so we enjoy our marriages. Let's not use our hands to go and bring trouble into our marriages. And sometimes, apart from the mental health, you don't know who this person, you don't know if they're healthy or not. You just go. And some people will not even think to use protection when they do these things. Some people have AIDS. It's not written on their foreheads. Some have some diseases that can even kill. It's not written on their forehead because they've dressed well, did their self look nice, smell good. You just go and do that, and then straight away, and you will not even know, and then you go home and meet with your spouse and then transmit to them as well. I don't know where I was recently. I was hearing of a case where this man, went about playing outside his marriage, and he didn't realize that, what was the thing? Something was passed on. Was it AIDS? Or something was passed on to him. He didn't realize, and then he passed it on to the wife. And almost like within a month or two, the wife started feeling some feelings on her. She was so confused. She called the doctor to say, I need to see you because I don't understand how I'm feeling. And then she went in, did all sort of tests, blood tests and all. And the doctor came back here, I think it was AIDS, say you've got HIV or you're HIV positive. She said, no way. How? Was it blood transfusion? No, this one, it just, they narrowed it out. It has to be sexually. Who else is she engaged in sexually? She would think, of course, the partner. And she'd be like, no, it can't be. I love this person. I trust them so much. No, they can't. No, they can't. It's bad enough they're going to do that. Now bringing positive HIV to them. And then they went home, and now, they went out. It got so bad. They're talking about when they die, the children are still young, or I know there are medications and all of that, but their life will never remain the same again. I was living my peaceful life. You were living your peaceful life. This person just strayed and now brought this disease upon this family. And God helping you, your children have not even contracted it somehow. Because you feed them, you might bleed, they might touch you, and all of that. Imagine you and your spouse carrying the HIV positive, and then you now tested all your children. Maybe you have 5 of them, 2 of them are also HIV positive, just because of one act of infidelity. This can ruin lives, guys. It can. That's why I say let's dare talk about it. Again, loss of stability. Infidelity can lead to separation or divorce, period. And this also can result in emotional and financial instability for both partners. Together, you're stronger financially, you're stronger emotionally and all. But because it's broken, some spouse may never be able to forgive infidelity. And that's just the truth. They say once my spouse has gone out there, that is the end of this marriage. And they're not just saying it, they mean it. They know. They've talked about it with their spouse. The only thing that will make me separate from you is if you go astray. And they've warned their spouses, they've talked about it, laughed about it, and then the spouse went on to say, and then bring in all sort of excuse. See, no man, say, take heed lest you think you stand, you may fall. I know nobody's perfect. And your spouse, if they find in their heart to forgive you, best be grateful. And make sure it doesn't happen again. But if they now say they can't live past it, they can't forgive it, there you go. What are you going to do about it? So let's be careful so that you don't lose that stability in your marriage. Your children don't lose that stability as well. So I'm going to move quickly. So addressing infidelity. While infidelity is deeply painful, it does not always mean the end of a marriage. I've counseled loads and loads of people. I've heard of cases where it's happened even more than once, twice, and they still find it to forgiving their spouse, to still carry on in that marriage. Of course, it was not a bed of roses. It wasn't easy. It took years, of getting off of that thought of you being with somebody else or you doing this and all of that. Connie, I see you. Delight, thanks for joining again. I see you. Many couples have successfully rebuilt their relationship after such challenges. Know that as well. And I'm going to tell us some ways to address infidelity. Not always, I'll just mention a few. Acknowledgement and accountability. Don't be blaming your wife because you didn't give me attention. That's why I've gone to do this. Because you didn't do this, that's why I've gone to do this. So the unfaithful partner must take responsibility for their actions without shifting blame. Both partners should acknowledge the pain caused and commit to open and honest communication. That is the only way you can move past this. You have to acknowledge what has been done, and you have to be accountable for it. If you come and say, okay, because the guilt is killing you, you have to tell your wife, and you're telling your husband, you've gone to do this, and you say it's because you didn't do this. Just in the same breath, you're confessing and you're still blaming your spouse. Hey, that doesn't work. It wouldn't go down well. Oh, trust me, it won't go down well. Again, seek professional help. I mentioned this briefly earlier. Counseling or therapy can provide a safe space for both partners to express their feelings and walk through the issues that led to that infidelity in the first place. A trained therapist can help rebuild trust and guide a couple towards reconciliation. But this will not be done in one sitting. It will not be done in 1 month. It would take time to rebuild. It always takes longer to rebuild. And you have to be willing to put in the effort as well. Otherwise, that's the end of that relationship. Again, commit to transparent communication. Before it even gets there, guys, it's because we're not open and honest with our spouses. We don't talk about it. Sometimes you will talk. Some talks are bitter. Some talks are not palatable. Some talks are... but they are necessary. Otherwise, you get into this trouble of infidelity. So commit to transparent communication. Honesty is essential to rebuild trust. This may include sharing feelings, answering difficult questions because your spouse wants to know what led to that, in case they don't even know why that happened. And again, maintaining openness about future actions. Because maybe you put yourself in a situation where you became so vulnerable and it happened. And then your spouse is asking, if you were vulnerable to that extent again, would you put yourself in such situation, or would you rather come talk with me and let's sort it out? Because they will ask questions. What led to that? How did it happen? Is it someone I know? You should be willing to talk about these things in order to move past it. Otherwise, your spouse will still think you're hiding something. SMM, I see you. Thanks for joining. Gist with O'Shea, thanks for joining. Oh, it's been a while. Again, set clear boundaries. Couples need to agree on boundaries to prevent future incidents of infidelity. Whether it involves limiting close relationships with the opposite sex or being more transparent about social activities. Sandra, hello, how are you? You just have to set clear boundaries. How far do you call a friendship? How far must you go in this relationship? Talk about it with your spouse so you don't put yourself in a vulnerable place where things happen. Again, rebuild emotional intimacy. Of course, the deed has been done and you're trying to rebuild. You have to also rebuild that emotional intimacy. Reconnecting emotionally is crucial for healing. Spend time together, express appreciation, and focus on rekindling the bond that initially brought you guys together. It's easier said than done because you're angry. You can't even stand them right now. At some point, and you know that you don't want to end the relationship, at some point you would have to come to this place, to that space, have to talk about things, to express feelings again, after you may have forgiven. Forgetting might take longer, whatever, but help rebuild that emotional intimacy again. Remember the good old days before that happened. Something to help you overcome that mentally as well, please. Again, forgiveness and patience. This is huge. Forgiveness is a process, not an event. So don't just feel because I've told you now this is what I've done, you expect immediately say, okay, I forgive you, stand up and go. Live your life. No. It is a process. The shock will sink in. It might take months before they even overcome the shock, let alone rebuilding that trust. So it requires time, it requires effort, and genuine willingness to let go of that resentment, both from the spouse and the one who has committed whatever offense as well, whichever way they've committed it. Victory, I see you. Thank you so much for joining. Again, consider the future. Decide together whether the marriage can be saved and what steps are needed to move forward, either together or separately. And as I'm being real, sometimes your spouse may not forgive that infidelity. They just, no, it's something they know they can live with. They will not pretend to you. They will tell you this is the end of this marriage. What do you do? Where do you go from there? And some may say, I've forgiven you, but I don't want you near me for God knows when. I don't know. I need to get over this. So be patient as well. Consider the future, because you still see this person in your life. When you grow old and gray, when there are no more teeth in your mouth and you're holding that stick and holding each other, you still see them as the one doing that with you. So give each other time to heal and spend as much time together as much as possible. Even if you're in each other's space and you're not talking, be there, stay there, be in there. You don't have to talk, because there's so many ways we can heal, can go past this. So preventing infidelity. Hey, it's true. How can we prevent infidelity? Prevention is always better than cure. You and I know that. While no marriage is immune to challenges, there are proactive steps couples can take to reduce the risk of infidelity. And that's why I'm like, let us talk about this. You know, we are flesh and blood. Things happen. But let's talk about it. Let's bring it to the forefront of our thinking so that our guards are up. We don't just expose ourselves to anyone anyhow. And Astina, thanks for joining. Prioritize your relationship. Guys, it would take hard work. Nothing comes easy in life. It would take hard work. Prioritize your relationship. Now you are married. No more eye for any side chick or any babe or any ex or any whatever. Focus. Invest time and energy in maintaining a strong connection with your spouse. Date nights, shared hobbies, and regular communication, it goes a long way. When you prioritize your relationship, you feel the need to do everything with your spouse. Even when they're annoying you, you know they're your priority. Nobody is a detour. Nobody is a side whatever. Be mindful. Again, TikTok. Yikes. Okay, yes. So, let's prioritize our relationship. No one but you. No one but you. No one but you. No one but your spouse, guys. Let's invest time. If we're not, because sometimes you might be busy, they're busy, and then, you know, whoever you're getting busy with, you start feeling all these stupid, silly feelings. Yes, I must go there. And then before you know, you say, oh, the deed has been done. Please, spend time with your spouse. Okay, prioritize them. Let them be number one. This is how these things work. Otherwise, a lot of people can easily distract us from that relationship. Maintain open communication. I've said this over and over in my talk. Share your feelings, concerns, and needs openly to encourage your partner to do the same. Ask questions. When your partner is feeling somehow distant, don't just say, oh, because they're busy. Ask questions. My dear, lately I've not been feeling you. What's happening? And that's if you care. If you care enough, this thing should be your priority to know. Share your feelings, your concerns with your spouse. Call them and say, this is my feeling. I might be wrong, but I just feel some sort of distance. You know, let's go on a date night. Find solution as well. Not just come and be poking and be looking for trouble. Find solution. So if you think they're being distant, they're distant, or they feel they're distant from you, what have you done lately to close the gap yourself? So it's on us, really, one for another. Maintain open communication. Talk about everything. Don't sit and assume. Assumption is always wrong. Always wrong. Mostly wrong. In fact, 99% wrong. Adigbinga, I see you. Thanks for joining. Again, address issues early. Don't let conflicts fester. Resolving issues as they arise helps prevent resentment and emotional distance. Because if you don't talk about things, they're thinking in their mind and all of that. This person has done this to me. He has told me, and I think he can just live life and carry on. And they're still hurting, and you can't even share with your spouse you're hurting. Pretty, I see you. Good evening. I trust you're good. Welcome again to Inside. You don't want that emotional distance again, especially when you've committed the emotional infidelity, like I mentioned earlier. And then you're still not connecting emotionally. The tendency is you want to look elsewhere to connect, because this is how we're wired as human. Oh, okay, thank God. Good to hear you're good. People, let's help one another. Address issues early. Don't leave anything to fester, especially conflicts, no matter how small the conflict is. Talk about it. Because I know sometimes spouses may be in different standards, they don't even want to hear it. Doesn't mean you should stop talking about it, because these things affect married relationships. Again, show appreciation. Express gratitude and acknowledgement towards your partner, their efforts, whether big, whether small. Don't just downgrade things. Don't just overlook things. Don't let them feel like they're not appreciated. And then somebody is appreciating them for buying them a bottle of water outside. Haba, please. Feeling valued reduces the likelihood of seeking validation elsewhere. Because listen, you're telling me I'm beautiful. Oh, my husband told me this morning. Okay, say another one. Oh, the way you do this. Oh, that's what my husband loves most about me. Because he's told you. Not that some things he's never told you. And now you're just going out there. Somebody said, oh my goodness. You look like heaven. Oh, thank you for the heart me. Again, thank you. Did I even set a goal? I can't remember what I set a goal for today. Oh, something is there. Okay. You know, when your spouse tells you how handsome, my goodness, I married good. You are so handsome. There's no lady that will come and be telling you you're handsome. Hey, so what? So say another thing. Because your wife has oversaid it to you. Thank you now for liking the live. God will help us. Again, build mutual trust. Mutual, like I said, not one-sided. So because I'm the man or I'm the woman or what. No, both of you. Trust is the foundation of a healthy marriage. Be honest with one another. Be reliable. Be supportive towards one another. Let it not be one-sided. Because these are issues that bring problem in the first place. Oh, you're not supporting me enough. And there's one stranger supporting your spouse for no reason. And you think that if care is not taken, things happen like that. So let's build mutual trust for one another. And if you have any doubts about anything at all, they are your spouse. Talk about it. Let them even say you're silly for thinking that. At least you've said it out. And that's the end of the thought or thinking, please. Again, set healthy boundaries. I've mentioned that briefly. Clearly define what is acceptable or unacceptable behavior in your relationship to avoid misunderstandings. And guess what, guys? Let me just even throw this. Just came to mind. When you're walking down that aisle with your spouse, and then you both start in front of the person, you know, marrying both of you off, whether in the registry or in the church or wherever, and you're saying your vows to one another. I don't think I've ever heard I promise to be who person who commits infidelity, what do you call them? I promise not to stay with you alone. I promise to carry on seeing other women. I promise, and this woman will stand at the altar with you, or this man will stand at the altar with you and hear all of this and say, oh, I do. Put the ring on it. Hello? I don't think so. So because you didn't set out to do that, the moment it comes, it should be a strange thing for you to even do. But I don't know how we are. You know, things happen, I know. But I don't know. Sometimes I try to understand certain things. I'm going to round up soon so that we can come up and talk about these things. Infidelity in marriage. Infidelity in marriage. Let's talk about it. Let's bring it to the forefront, so that we will not, you know, put ourselves in some situations because we don't think about it. Oh, I'm a strong person. Oh, that cannot happen to me. Hey, hello. Let's be careful. foster personal growth as well, encourage each other's personal development, and maintain a balance between individual goals and shared aspirations. As a couple, you will have goals, and as individuals in that marriage, you will have goals and aspirations as well. Support one another so that you can grow and develop on the same level. Because sometimes, as simple as that is, I'm not getting support from my spouse, or I don't feel I matter to them in whatever I'm doing. And then there's somebody, there will always be somebody outside to encourage, somebody outside to do what you're not doing. And it's like, if care is not taken, this is where this infidelity would come in. So be everything to your spouse, be everything to each other. I'm going to conclude by saying that infidelity is one of the most painful challenges a marriage can face, but it is not necessarily the end of the road. Like I said, some may forgive, some they know this is the end of this marriage and that's it. So with honest acknowledgement, professional help, and a commitment to healing, couples can rebuild their relationships and even emerge stronger. I've seen people who have been in such situation and now it's like nothing can separate them. It was like an eye-opener for both of them, even though it's one party that have committed that. So for those seeking to prevent infidelity, prioritizing communication, trust, and emotional intimacy is very essential, guys. If you don't connect in all of these ways with your spouse, tendency is you'll find somebody out there to connect with, and you know what that can lead to. Marriage is a journey that requires effort. I always say it's not for lily-liver men and women. It's not for boys and girls. Marriage requires a lot, mentally, physically, emotionally, every lee you can think of. Marriage is a journey that requires effort, understanding, mutual respect, a whole lot of things. Understanding, tolerance, respect, trust, all of these things. I know, I think big guys deep. That's, if you're not ready, don't go into it and be suffering your spouse for no reason. If you know you're the type you still want to jump from one bed to another, why go into a marriage relationship? When you know you're not ready to zip up, you're not ready to put that skirt on. By fostering these qualities I've mentioned, we can protect the sanctity of our relationships and navigate challenges with grace and resilience, such that even when you find yourself like this thing is staring you in the face and the thought of your spouse, whether they're annoying you or they're not, you just think, no, I have to put this resilience cap on. I'm sorry, I am married. I may not be happy in my marriage right now, but I'm sorry, I can't do this. Somebody was saying, it was a mistake, it was a mistake. You're pulling down, forcefully pulling down your zipper, you're unbottling this and doing that. Something has not clicked that what you're about to do is wrong. So sometimes excuses, really? Is it justified? Are they justified, those excuses? So let's be mindful. This is where I'm going to end my talk for today. One question I'm going to ask is, should infidelity end a marriage relationship? Should infidelity end a marriage relationship? Thank you guys for listening. 8:13, how are you? Hola to you. Let the light that's within me shine to the whole world, Okay. I see somebody saying no. Ajayi-Daniels said no. So please send an invite. It's time to open the box now and let us talk some truth to ourselves. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for listening as well. Send an invite. Let me bring us up. Let's talk about this some more, because the idea is to fix marriages, help couples. Should infidelity end a marriage relationship? These are true, bitter truth that we need to talk about. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate those comments. Let me see who is there ready. I'm going to bring us on. Hopefully our networks are good so we can share and talk some more about this topic, because it's very crucial and I know it's very sensitive as well. So let's let's go there and talk about it today, so that people out there, facing these challenges can find solutions. They can heal quickly, and connect back to their loved ones. Thank you so much. Please send an invite if you want to come into the box to share your views or to give us some more nuggets about this topic, infidelity in marriage, how we can overcome it, such that our marriage is not broken or we don't go through divorce, as it were. So please, we want to hear from us in no particular order. Not you're welcome. So maybe I should stop talking and hand over to you, really. Thank you, Adegbenga. Really appreciate that. Now,
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, good evening.
So, good evening.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. The message was very, very impactful.
You're welcome.
Yeah, from my own opinion is whatever I would speak for tonight, just for clarification's sake.
Yeah.
Marriage, first of all, we need to understand that both parties are coming from different background, and our upbringing is surely different. What we've grown up to know, what we've grown up to understand, and
Thank you.
sorry to say this, guys, but usually women are more matured and prepared for marriage than we guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you see, except on some very rare exception,
Thank you. Thank
on some very rare exception, that is when you find men who are ready for marriage.
you.
My view from the Bible, the scripture taught us to learn to man submit first, because we are to lead
Yeah.
for woman to follow suit. But most times we want the woman to submit. We want
We
to be
don't.
the chief. Yes, we are the chief. But you need to also know that it takes a woman of high understanding to make you a king, to crown you, to look beyond your iniquities. We all have our point of failure.
Yeah.
There is no perfect human. So it is how we mend ourselves, not to condemn ourselves.
Thank you
Marriage
so
has
much.
to be the institution where we are certified before going for the
Yeah, I
actual
always
food.
say that.
So some people find themselves in it and are not groomed for it.
That's true.
We need to have a very high level of tolerance. I have been in secondary school and I used to have a classmate
Yeah.
who is finesse in all he does. Even we used to have a combined sitting in secondary school those days. This is somebody that would use chalk to divide the chair. Just
Seriously.
because, simply because
I laugh in Japanese.
he doesn't want you to come into his space.
Hello, Heartbeat. Welcome.
Now, how do we tolerate one another? So usually whenever he rules the line, me, I will get to school before him. I will go and clean it. So it got to the point that he comes in whenever the classes are on. And me, I deliberately put my bag on where he is meant to sit. So whenever he comes in, he would be forced to ask me to carry my bag. It's fun to me.
Funny.
No. It's fun to me. But you see, it should be accommodating. Very, very accommodating. You see, there is no definition to love. It's simply practical.
Yeah.
When you look at what attracts you to anybody, that thing that attracts you today would go away someday. And
Possibly.
it's not, yeah, possibly, but it might not keep the marriage. But when you have enlarged your heart, that you possibly learn to forgive ahead of any error. I won't lie to you. I'm a Yoruba man. I would use an adage. There is no way a man would walk without the head shaking. Kò sí bá ṣe máa rìn torí ò ní mì.
True.
You know, you might be looking at this thing is coming this way, this thing is coming this way. Marriage teaches us to build together, to come together in unity of purpose.
Yeah.
Now, there is a aim. Honestly, the aim and the secret to life, fulfillment, is inside marriage.
Yeah.
But it takes a divine intervention for any man or woman to understand or see this. It's quite unfortunate. Some marriages you will see. I've witnessed some.
Yeah.
I used to be an event planner, and well, if I'm still in that place, I will still be an event planner, but I relocated.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, back home in Nigeria.
Okay.
It took us a week on the field setting up the event venue at TBS.
Okay.
It was a very elaborate wedding, and only for us to hear at the end of the marriage did not lasted 1 month. And I
What?
was like, are you kidding me?
Seriously?
They shouldn't have put us through that stress,
Oh my goodness.
because it's not really about taking the money, setting the event up, but we believe in making the day joyous for the celebrants.
Wow.
When you see governors, when you see the people, I won't lie to you, women are beautiful.
Thank you for saying that.
It is the hand with which we use to hold them. Tó bá wùn ẹ́ kó lọ́wọ́ líle, kí ló dé ó fẹ́ ṣe mí léṣe, you want to hold me? But I won't, as they are as well, a woman thinks far ahead of what a man could reason. The woman is the one in charge of the home. The man is the front runner. We need to know our role. 1 1,000, 2 10,000.
Powerful.
And if we don't understand these roles, that is when you see the woman stepping in place. trying to hold the gap. Men, please study. Throw yourself to learning. It's not magical.
At all.
See, you can love a woman in a million ways. Honestly, a woman can be there for you a million ways. But if you do not apply the right senses, if you are sending the wrong tone, just yesterday, a very close friend of mine who happens to be a lady was sharing what her husband is doing wrong. And I told her, enlarge your coast. Yes. You see, most men find it difficult to confide in their home, which is their woman. They want to either confide in their family or a friend, whereby those ones know more than the wife at home.
Sad.
Which is really, really the wrong place. What God commanded was, man, leave your father and your mother's house to cleave with your woman. Now, you see that cleaving, bros. Woman will understand I ain't go turn leftover soup to jollof tomorrow.
Yes, so.
Don't think they don't know what they are doing. The day God butter your bread, rejoice with them. It is what they are praying for your improvement. Now, don't take that glory outside. Bring it in. The day they've been eating panlakeka with you, God knows what He's doing. And women, be accommodating, please.
Yes.
It is for us to be tolerant. You are mother of nation. Now, a woman that wants to birth a nation has a lot of responsibility right ahead of her.
Yep.
So, the battle you want to fight in marriage is not your husband alone. Yeah.
True.
You have the race of your children's life to run. Because the vessel in which God had prepared you for is to mandate their future. So when we know all of these purposes, we can set our feet right. And God Himself can guide us through.
Amen.
Let me rest at this point.
Oh, thank you. Now over to you. Thank you so much for the submission.
Yes, thank you. Hi. Okay, so let's go to Heartbeat. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, hello. Yes, please share with us your thoughts on the subject.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
You're welcome.
We are looking at infidelity in marriage.
Yes.
An interesting topic
Indeed.
and one that commands so much attention because we are living in times where infidelity is gaining so much ascendancy. At first, it used to be a thing for men, but with all the DNA results coming in, we are seeing that either the women have joined us, or better still, we joined them unaware. The question before us is, what we do in the face where a spouse commits some act of infidelity. Infidelity is a broad terminology with profound implications, but mainly we are looking at where your spouse goes to be intimate with another person. And that is what I want to address. It is important for us to establish that every one of us have a limit to whatever we can accommodate or we can take.
Sorry, Heartbeat. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I love the flow, but just to put this out there, because I know some people are just coming in, and when they come in and see this topic, infidelity in marriage, the first thing they think is a sexual one. If you were here at the beginning of my talk, I broke it down. There's physical infidelity, there's emotional infidelity, there's online infidelity, there's financial infidelity, and some other ones. So we're not just focusing on sex alone, but the range of it. Yeah, thank you.
That's good. It's good to have that spectrum come to bear on the subject because, like I said, I wasn't here from the beginning.
Okay, all right.
And like I said, it is profound in its implication
Yeah.
and embraces different ramifications. But it's good that you have clarified that we are not looking only at sexual infidelity.
Yeah.
So, having started with that, let me end it and then broaden it to include other arms of this subject.
Okay. Thank you.
So, when it comes to sexual infidelity, there is an extent to which every one of us can bear with something like this. And that mainly is a thing for the individual to decide. In other words, if spouse A in a different relationship decides to forgive his spouse or her spouse for sexual infidelity and continue with them, we shouldn't automatically project the same situation to spouse B in a different situation for the simple reason that they are not the same, so their reactions will be different. And sincerely, it has a way it affects people's psychology and emotions, and the extent to which it damages them. In fact, I've heard a woman say that it is naturally impossible for her to give herself to her husband because of infidelity. And the way she feels, she said she's tried severally, but she just cannot hold it. She can't just give herself to this man. Clearly, she needs healing before she can do this. On the other hand, there is another woman who has psyched herself way before she came into marriage that as for a man, he would always cheat. So for her, it is no news. And so she is able to overlook that.
Yeah.
If they are able to do it, like I've already said, it's fine because for me, how can I claim I love you if I cannot forgive you for offending me to that degree? Because there are ways to express one's love for your spouse.
Yeah.
Apart from all the good things we can buy, we can give, the sacrifices we can make, One of the areas that you can show that you really love your spouse is when you forgive them for offending you. And by this, there are no limits to the nature of the offense. This offense should include sexual infidelity. Having said this, let me quickly add that in some situation, it has nothing to do with your ability to forgive them, which I think most people can be able to do that. But rather, what the implications are in a given situation. Let me give an example.
Yes.
A spouse who is unfaithful and has no remorse and has nothing to convince you that they want to come out from such conduct of infidelity. No matter how much you love them, no matter how strong
V,
your love for
can
them
you mute?
is,
V, can you mute for a second, please? Thank you.
you should not be seen forgiving them for the mere reason that it is not going to end with forgiveness. So you have to advise yourself on what is best to do, which in most cases it will be to come out from such a relationship, because the probability that she could bring home or he could bring home some disease which could shorten your life or victimize you is very high. So it calls for you looking at when to forgive, who to forgive, and how to forgive. Having spoken about this, let's look at other ramifications. Like you rightly said, financial
Yeah.
infidelity, emotional infidelity, etc., etc. Financial infidelity is one of the areas that have come up strongly in recent times and has been the high priestess of the divorce court in most cases. It is what has separated otherwise very loving people, people who are friends, people who stay together, that one would expect or one would not expect that they would separate. You go and hear them talk, and it's not as though their spouse has committed some sexual infidelity. The culprit here is financial infidelity. One feels cheated, one feels betrayed, one feels so hurt that the spouse did something financially. Maybe they built a house in their village or for their mom or something like that on their blind side without having to discuss with them. A woman may have acquired a property and decided to be silent about it. I remember once upon a time I chanced on a discussion like this, and what was the story about? There was this couple who, by all standards, were a happy couple. But the man was not financially capable of getting them a house of their own. So they had to rent a house. This woman leads this man to rent a house, and she is the intermediary between the husband and the landlord. And sometimes when the man claims that, look, it's not suitable for me to part with the rent at this time because of A, B, and C reasons, the woman will come out like, no, no, no. As for accommodation, it is the first thing. Where to place your head is most important and must be topmost on our priority list or scale of preference. We have to go ahead and pay for that one. And she will be the one to stand on the man and collect the rent.
I think I heard
Do you know what? One day, the man fainted because of shock. And what was the shock? The house he had been paying rent for over 13 years belonged to his wife. If this is not financial infidelity, what could it be? It's unfaithfulness to the highest level. You can't do that. You can't do that. To the point that you won't even give the man some flexibility. Of course, if my wife has a house and she is renting it out just so she will make money, and I have decided that we should live in it, so I pay for the rent, fair enough. There is nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't want to have it for free. But what I expect from her is that in those moments where it is difficult, she would bear with me and give me grace, because some third person, some person who is not blood related but a landlord, could be kind enough to give me some grace. How much more the woman who lies in my bosom, who I have and I hold as mine? Why shouldn't she be able to grant me such grace? So I think that this is sad. One woman called me, and in the course of our conversation, she is a divorcee, asked why she divorced the husband. They were both in Ghana. The husband traveled, worked hard, and came for her. She came and discovered a place and advised the husband that they pool their resources together and rent the place and buy the place, a land, and then build. It was at that stage that the man decided that he went behind her and changed the documentation of the parcel of land into his sole name. And upon discovering, the man came and said that, let's put our resources together and build this house. And the woman declined outright. Of course, she is right. And the man said, I brought you here. I paid so much because you are a wife. Now you are here, and I need you to support me, and you will not do such a thing. A problem such as this is what led to their divorce. And now they are legally divorced for a number of years.
Wow.
So why should lovers, why should husband and wife, why should people who have covenanted to live together a lifetime be separated because of property, because of finances? I don't think it is fairness. So there should be a lot of sacrifices. Just this morning, I heard a lady say that she will never disclose how much she earns and what she does with it to her spouse,
Oh.
because not even because her spouse is that type, but because she has learned that there was another woman whose husband, anytime he gets to know what the woman is doing or earning, he stops to contribute at home, thinking that the woman has made so much money. So for that reason, she is guided by that. You see, whatever the case is, I think that marriage or any form of man woman relationship works better where there is oneness, not only in bed, but in finances and emotionally, mentally, psychologically, in every aspect of your life. I would end here for somebody also to come on board. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for sharing and giving us examples of, what is going on out there, especially in terms of this financial, infidelity that's going on. I guess sometimes maybe people, like you said about, that lady that's saying she's not going to let her husband know how much she's earning just because out of somebody else's experience. And I think that's not good enough reason. Just because somebody has experienced that, you can't treat your partner, your husband, like that because, from somebody else. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so we can move on to Mary. Just come on. I'm just thinking who came on next. Oh, is it Little?
Delight.
Delight?
Delight.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi. Well, welcome,
Another
welcome.
very interesting topic tonight.
Yes, yes. So share with us your thoughts. A penny for your thoughts.
Um, well, infidelity in marriage. I think there are a number of factors that bring about infidelity in marriages. Whether it's physical, emotional, online infidelity, or financial infidelity. But I think to a large extent, I personally would argue that communication is probably the root of them all, personally.
Yes.
And the reason why I feel that communication is the root of them all, that leads to any one of these causes, is that whether we're talking about a man looking outside or a woman, the idea always starts with maybe somebody feeling starved of communication, like somebody not feeling heard. So, for example, I think when I was younger, my aunties and mom would regularly sit us down, the girls that were getting to marital age, and they would say to us that there are three things that are very, very important in marriage, and that is communication, food, and sex. And that and that as a girl, and that as a young girl going into a marriage or contemplating the idea of entering into marriage, that if you know that you're not ready to give any one of these things, because if you give one and you don't give the other, then your marriage will still suffer. For example, I mean, as an African origin, we regularly say that the way to a man's heart is through their tummy.
Yes.
Every man love their food. They can eat until, I don't know, the men love food. But I think the older I get, I realize that they are actually big babies and they love communication even more, And so sometimes it baffles me that when you sit down with married couples that are having issues and you try to understand, what has led to some of the breakdown, majority of the time it's either party A wants to talk and party B is not interested. And sadly, you then find that party A ends up being married somewhat to their co-worker because that's the person they talk to all day long.
Yeah.
And whether it's a man or it's a woman, where you feel you're getting more attention is when you tend to sort of express yourself. And before you realize, it might be a man that would normally say, "Oh, I don't eat food outside apart from my wife's food." Slowly we'll start going to lunch break and we'll be like, "Oh, have you?" I mean, if it sadly in the UK, I don't know about somewhere else. In the UK, when a woman wants to get a man, they know how to do it. you know. So a man that's been declining or trying his best to decline attention from another person, if his wife, who he thinks is trying to keep himself for or do everything right by, doesn't see him, doesn't give him any attention, it's only a matter of time before it starts to open up to another person outside. And this already would, it might start as a very tiny seed, but could grow very quickly into something that they both did not plan for. And this could lead down the road of infidelity, which could become very, very horrible. But yeah, so communication, it seems so simple, yet it can be so difficult for many people and and it's the breakdown of many, many marriages. And again, when I say communication, some things are simple or should be simple. Like when people are maybe at a dating stage, maybe some things they really should have spoken about and agreed upon. For example, it might be that a woman decides or has decided before she ever met this man that she does not want more than 3 children. And then she ends up marrying a man who is of a certain origin and is looking to have 7 kids. So then you get into a marriage and you're having miscommunication because either one person is not talking or the other person is saying, "Well, what you're saying does not make sense to me because how can you see 7 children as a bad thing?" You know? And as a result, this home that should be a loving home, that should be filled with so much joy, you know, little things starts to creep in. I think there's an adage in my dialect that says that if there's no crack in the wall, a spider can't get in or something like that. you know. And it's so sad that in our generation, many marriages, I think, find themselves in some form of infidelity, particularly, I think, women, because almost everything requires finance. Whether you want to buy a very, very basic car to get from point A to point B, you need to pay for that. Food for your children, food for the house, electricity, your rent, whatever, everything costs money. And in a generation where everything costs money, you then need two parties that are either willing to work together or willing to be understanding, because sometimes both parties might not necessarily be able to physically go out and work, especially if you've got children that are quite young. In some cases, you have some men that would beat their chest and say, "Oh, I don't need my wife to work. I'll take all the responsibility, and they will do a great job at that. And some women will be quite appreciating of such men, but it's not common anymore in our generations. Like the more the men do, the more we feel that it's not enough, you know, and it's sad because this is not, unless somebody has a business that's bringing in crazy money, 9 to 5, I don't see how 9 to 5 can carry basic family of 4. That's 2 children, a husband and wife. You know, again, maybe it depends on where we live in different parts of the world, but in this generation, living on one salary is just so hard. But it's doable in a relationship where there's an understanding between the man and the woman, because women know how to make small things go a long way. But unfortunately, we also have some men that it might be that it's their wife that's maybe a little bit, I don't know, more educated than them. And if the wife is more educated or is more experienced, I mean, I don't know, but in my network, I realized that in this generation, women are doing far better than men financially. For a woman to get a job and a man goes for the same job, they would rather give it to a woman. I'm not, I don't know. And so the career ladder used to be quite difficult for women. But I think since everybody has gone back to school and women are now staying in their profession and taking it very seriously, many men who, for whatever reason, let me say, the gap between their pay and their wife's pay is quite glaringly obvious. Some men, or I don't want to use the word most men, some men struggle with that, you know, and as a result, that makes them to lose their self-esteem. And as a result, they then tend to start doing things that they wouldn't ordinarily do. So not necessarily infidelity physically, but in other ways that could potentially then lead to physical infidelity or even the breakdown of the marriage. But again, to me, all these things still go back to communication.
Of course.
You know, yeah, our generation, I feel like our generation is in trouble and we just need more prayer. Pray.
Talking and prayer. Talking and prayer.
Talking and prayer, honestly. But yeah, and working together. And I think, I don't know, I just feel like there's so much selfishness in human being. You know, everybody, sometimes when I listen, pardon?
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Sometimes when I listen to some couple, like I think the man that spoke last was saying how a lady owned the property and the husband was renting. I didn't quite understand what he meant there. But I know I've heard stories like that.
Do you know the story is, because I think I saw a video of it. Now, do you want to mute? Something is echoing. Okay, I think maybe you were meant to take a call. If you close the calling app, it will probably let the echo go. So, Delight, what happened in a nutshell is this woman had money. She kept away from the husband's knowledge. She built a house. And the man, of course, was okay, was paying rent or what. And at some point, I think, because there are too many of them, I'm trying to figure out this particular one. At some point, the wife said, oh, there's a house, maybe they should move there and be paying rent or what. And so that the house can be in order. Apparently, what she didn't say to the husband is that she owns the house. So they moved in there. The man said, oh, my wife, well done, You know, this house is good. It befits us and all. And then if she doesn't pay the rent, if he doesn't pay the rent, this woman will be hounding, maybe through an agency or through whoever. You have to pay rent. The owner of the house, And he's been doing that for almost 13 years. And until one day, somehow, as fate will have it, he found out that the wife owns the property he's been paying the rent for so long. And you can imagine that's why the man fainted or something like that. So that's financial infidelity, as he was trying to cite that as an example. And some have gone way beyond that. They will even ask their husband to. I mean, guys, I'm not boosting my ego, but go and watch Wosi Wosi on YouTube. It's there. It's free. Watch that movie, and you try and understand where we're coming from. This financial infidelity we're talking about. I think it was Heartbeat that said it even breaks home more than the physical one. You'll be amazed what couples do without their spouse's knowledge, and they feel they can get away with it. My people say that, you see, this lie can go on for so long, but after 20 years, one day the truth will have to come out. So imagine how that man will feel. This person that I don't want her to suffer. This wife, I'm making sure I'm paying the rent, doing this and that. So you're the owner of this house. Imagine the betrayal. So I'll leave it to the light to carry on. Thank you.
Oh wow, thank you so much. Um, again, it's sad. But I think some things like this, I feel like they occur when people get into marriages for the wrong reasons in the first place. And whether we're talking about our men or we're talking about the women, everybody comes into a relationship for specific reasons, you know. I mean, generally the Bible says that two shall become one, but I feel like in this generation, the idea that two shall become one, I don't know if it's really working. I'm not sure. But I think when it comes to finances, I think it's really, transparency is good, but I think it's really, really important at the same time, understanding that time has changed and will continue to change. I think it's important that we realize that if, for example, a man goes out and he works and makes, I don't know, let me say £70,000 per year, and his wife went out and makes, I don't know, 40,000, or let me say 30,000, that's 100,000 into the family pot, right? That's 100,000. In an ideal world, you would say they have 100,000 in an ideal world. But in our generation, women want men to continue to say that they're men and do things that men do, which is, pay for everything or pay the mortgage, pay for the bulk of the things. And ideally, that's what they should do if the capacity is there. And I do accept that. But at the same time, where we're saying it's a marriage, I'm saying in the context of a marriage now, because we're talking about infidelity in marriages. In an ideal world, it should be that this is our money. But again, where there's no clear communication, this man, although he made £70,000, he can easily, some men, not all men, some men can tell you, not necessarily even tell you, such men might not even say anything, they'll just do it. Take 40,000 and send it to Nigeria and say, I am building something house. And you're like, okay. So that leaves, I don't know, 30K in the UK. So the wife who worked and brought in 30, she might feel that this is an unfair advantage in the sense that you didn't consult me. You didn't talk to me about it. Do you see what I mean? And some women, well, whether man or woman, some people will talk, some will not talk. They will just take action, right? Women, being the type of people that we are, maybe in trying to ensure that our marriages work or whatnot, might talk for a while and then go down the route of, let me just keep silent, especially if the man is saying, I'm doing it for my family. Bearing in mind, your wife and children are also your family, right? So if that woman then goes out and decides, I'm going to upskill myself, and she decides to get a better job having gone back to uni or whatever, and then lands a job of 100,000, right? But being a woman, she's probably very diligent and very careful to not really say anything to anybody outside about what is going on with her husband or what he's doing with his money, right? And now she lands a job of 100,000. So now this man that would normally take out of his 70,000, 40K to Nigeria now realizes that his wife has a job of 100,000, or maybe he doesn't even know, just realizes that there's more cash at her disposal. He might question and question, and she might then lock up to not say anything as to how much she's making, because there's already a foundation that's led to the problem that's making, so it's like there's an action, now there's a reaction. Do you see what I mean?
Retaliation.
Oh, more like.
You know, and so for many, many marriages, I feel like finance and communication leads to a whole lot of problem that then brings about the idea of infidelity, you know, because sometimes while we want to say money is not everything, to a large extent it actually is, you know. But I think I've realized though that when people are having problem, it's not necessarily because they have money or they don't have money. When I was younger, I used to think many couples had issues in their marriages because of finances. Perhaps in Africa, where people will come to the whoever the elder in the family is, bring their issues, and it will get resolved. And most of the time, it will be because of finances. But as you get older, you realize that even people that are making six figures, you know, seven, eight figures, are still having meltdown in their marriages. And 9 out of 10, you realize that sometimes it's a case of ego. But then again, ego goes back to communication, you know. So I think realizing the people that one get into a relationship with, because sometimes like people that are not necessarily your spouses are more transparent than people that are married to each other, which is again mind blowing. But just too many things in this generation. I feel like sadly sometimes the fact that some people look at other people's template and try to do copy and paste.
Oh dear.
You know, copy and paste never works for anybody.
Dangerous, yeah.
You might have twins that are born on the same day, everything, and in the house of A, it might be that is the husband that apologizes all the time, and the wife, you know, enjoys her husband like that. And if she tries to copy that, if house B tries to do the same, it would not work, because they're not from the same background, they're not brought up the same way, just a whole lot of things, you know, makes them to be very, very different. So I think not comparing our spouses is really, really important. Not saying, oh, did you see how that girl dressed? Why does she always look nice when she has baby? Why does she snatch back into her slim self again? Her body structure may be different to your spouses.
Definitely.
And sometimes it might be the women that would, you know, turn around and say, oh, I remember when I met you 10 years ago, you used to have six packs. Hello? 6 packs 10 years ago. The reality is the way you are 10 years ago is not the way you're looking today, if we're being honest, you know. But yeah, I think we just need to be more mindful of how we treat one another, and be mindful of the words and the way we be more considerate, I believe, and this will reduce some of the challenges that people are having in their marriages. But there are lots and lots of beautiful marriages out there, thriving marriages. And again, going back to the Bible says one will conquer 1,000 and two will conquer 10,000. It is so much better when people work together. If you use UK as an example, if you want to go to the bank and take a loan, maybe by yourself you can take a loan of, I don't know, buying a property, a loan of £300,000 based on your salary or whatever. But when there's two of you, you can probably take a loan of £800,000, you know. So it just, I wish more marriages and more people will work together and go further rather than going slowly and alone. That's all for tonight. Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you
the
so
fact,
much.
I'm gonna hand over to you shortly. I love the fact that everyone that have spoken, spoke deep things of life, of marriage. Because you find out that even if you get married at age 30 to whoever, and you both need to be 100, you're going to spend 70 years with this person.
That's
You
right.
will have to be tolerant. You will have to be understanding, except because you not guarantee that if you leave him or her, the next person you attach yourself with is going to be bed of roses. So why not stay here and build with this person? Do life with them. The ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, with this one person. That way, our mindset, will be they would offend you because they're not perfect. They would this infidelity we're talking about might come in, whether physical, emotional, whichever way might come in. Just know that they would hurt you, you will hurt them. We have to learn to forgive each other so we can make this thing work. And I'll say this, I was also on a hangout some time back, and I said, some men were like, I don't know why the echo. Maybe it's probably now. Hold on. Did you close that calling app? Close the calling app if it's open, because sometimes it interferes. So they were saying that, all these girls of today, they are so money conscious. All these girls of today, they don't submit. All the things you don't want to hear about girls, women, they were saying. And because they were majority guys or men, I was just looking at them. When they finished talking, I said, look, guys, in a way, you can't blame them. Somebody mentioned, or quite a number of us mentioned, upbringing. I
Yeah.
said, this lady saw how their fathers treated their mothers. And their mothers sat there enduring, not enjoying. And these children are growing up to be like, when I get married, I'm in a relationship. If this man tries 1/10 of what they're doing to my mother, I will show him Pepe. That's majority of people out there. So this innocent man who grew up in a loving home wants this woman, and the woman's mindset is, I will show this guy if he hurts me one bit, or I will do this. So we have a lot of women like that are out there that are taking revenge for their mothers off of their own spouses, which because they don't have understanding. Your father may have done that to your mom and she was quiet, she didn't fight for herself or marriage or whatever, does not mean this innocent man is going to do the same to you. So it's like cutting somebody before they even think to come near you because you want to be ready and prepared. But at the end of the day, you're going to kill this person before they even walk you down the aisle. So a lot of wounded girls, this one I can say, a lot of wounded girls on behalf of their mothers are out there. So it's not like they don't want to love, it's not like they don't want to submit, but what they saw growing up, like, how on earth would somebody treat me like this and I'll be staying there and enduring? No, never. So their guards are up like this. Their guards are up. And then these innocent young men looking for love and all of that, they are the innocent one that they are victims now, so to say. But I'll leave it there. But at least hopefully we all understand. So let's give it each other. And there's another saying, and now help me. Can two walk together except they agree?
Of course. They must.
I hand over to you.
They must. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Yuda, welcome. I see you.
Yes.
Come on, let's go.
I love what Delight said about communication. Like she summarized it. It's all about communication because when you feel betrayal, it's because somebody withheld something from you. Something they should have told you and shared with you is what causes the betrayal and breaks the trust. So as long as we know we exercise, being open with each other, we always, tell each other, share each other. And I think sometimes, in relationship, people forget that I keep saying, you have to have these difficult, trying conversations that are not nice. They're not pretty. They are ugly.
At
You
all.
know, they are ugly. And sometimes even in that conversation, you might get offended. your ego might get bruised.
Oh yeah, of
But
course.
but you need to have it, and you need to be able to navigate through it, because when you actually get through those difficult, tough conversations, there's a blessing, there's a growth that comes in a relationship. So it is necessary. It's not always about the nicey conversations, and we're talking about this infidelity thing, and I was thinking about it, and it really boils down. Sometimes people forget that in a relationship, you're gonna sometimes get tired of each other. You're gonna change.
Tell me about it.
These things come. But if we're not gonna talk about it and we brush it under the carpet, the elephant is still in the room. If you don't want to see the elephant is still there. So it's important that we address the elephant. If you're feeling that, there's some kind of distance, physical, whatever it is, emotionally coming through, you have to tell the other person and say in a loving way that they can understand and say, baby, I'm feeling that, we're not as close, we're not spending time, we're not communicating with each other. And then maybe the person can say, oh, you know what, actually on reflection, I have been busy, I've been preoccupied, let me see what we can do to, maybe go out or spend some quality time. Or even sometimes, we have to also accept that sometimes our partner are attracted, people get attracted to our partners.
Oh yeah,
Another truth.
woman. Of course.
Yes. But we don't want to address those things, and there's people out there that love the way he talks, love the way, she carries herself. And these things sometimes it's important to have this conversation, like you said, if somebody at work is putting pressure on you, or you're feeling this person's, borderline breaking boundaries, I think, you should be able to talk to your partner about it and think, you know what, I'm just having a conversation with you, babe. This is what I feel like is going. What do you think? And then maybe the person can also advise you. So we have to be open and transparent, like I said, about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And sometimes we stay away from those bad and ugly conversations and want to just stay in the good. But that's not going to help us.
That's why we're here on Insights. Yes.
It's not going to help us. It's not going to help us. So let's continue,
Thank you. Now. Sorry, Mary is my daughter. Don't worry. I just.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah, something. I just want to say this so that it's not like, Fumi, what are you saying about these girls? Let me balance my talk because I like to do this. For the men of today, they are missing that healthy foundational grooming from fathers, because they saw what they did to their mothers and they felt their fathers got away with it. They also are out there treating women anyhow and doing all of this, not knowing that these women too are ready. They're not ready to take an ounce of that nonsense. So, for example, this infidelity we're talking about, our foremothers, let me put it that way, saw a lot of their husbands do that, and they still stayed. And they were there forgiving. Some will even bring children from outside, and the mothers will still stay. But the daughters are growing like, never would I allow this. But the sons are like, wow, my mom didn't say anything, my dad got away with it. That means it's good to do this. So everybody's foundation is faulty. And then we have to be intentional now if we really want to enjoy what is called marriage. The way mom behaved, the way dad behaved, they were miserable. Even though they stayed together, they were not enjoying that marriage. Do I want to stay in a marriage for 50 years and be enduring? It said we should not allow our past traumas into our relationship. Of course we shouldn't. That's why communication, talk about, when you're dating this guy, sit them down. I remembered when we were courting, I said, look, I'm from a broken home. This and this and this, let's talk about it now. If you want polygamous home or whatever, you're African, talk about. He said, no, I'm from a polygamous home. I know what I suffered. One man, one wife is what my mind can carry, is what I live for and all that. These are things we talked about. Two people from a broken home. We have to be intentional to make our home work. Because all sorts will come. In fact, situations will come that you feel like your father did it, you might as well do it. The opportunity is right before you. But you remember the conversations that we don't want this in our own home. And then you're going to give birth to generations, nations. What are you passing on to them? Are you bringing that bad influence from your parents to your own home and passing it on to the children? And you know the prayer will pray that our children will be greater than us. Hey, their own will be worse than your own forefathers, your foremothers. So let us do right now. This generation, I believe strongly in this generation. Let us stop. That mindset is not helping anything. They're divorcing because of that. And then you remarry before you know, a girl at 50 or a woman at 50 has been married and divorced 6 times. Abba, please, let's do better. Thank you. So I'll leave it here.
Should we try the puzzle? Let's
Yeah,
see
let's
the puzzle.
let me
So the puzzle for today is, why did the man give his wedding ring to the church? Would anybody like to have a go? So, heartbeat, delight, and house. Anyone want to have a go? At the
Do you know
puzzle.
the answer? Please feel free to
James?
try. Heartbeat.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Yes, I didn't hear what you said. Can you
Okay.
repeat it?
Yeah,
It's on
so
the
the
screen.
puzzle, yeah, it's on the screen, but the puzzle is, why did the man give his wedding ring to the church?
I think I'm lost a little. I'm at a website doing something, so I didn't hear the story. A man gave his
Oh,
wedding ring to a church.
okay. This is
Wait.
okay. It's a puzzle. So what we do is we have this puzzle. It's like a riddle that we
Yeah,
introduce
I'm
just to
aware of
incorporate
your
things. Yeah.
puzzles.
So that was the puzzle. So that's the puzzle is, why did the man give his wedding ring to the church? So if you think you know the answer, or you want to offer a suggestion.
But I'm lost because a man gave his wedding ring to a church and not to his wife.
Well, yes, he gave it to the church. So what?
And in what capacity did the church receive it?
Heartbeat, you're too serious. So this is a puzzle. So let me paint a scenario because I don't want to give you a clue at all. This man went to church. Of course, we go to church to do a lot of things, to pray, to hear the word, to do thanksgiving, to do whatever. But at some point, this man got up and took his wedding ring off and gave it to the church or the pastor. Why did he do that? Something happened that made him do that.
Wow. Let me think a while
Okay, no problem, no problem.
and consider why he must have done a thing
Okay,
like this.
Thank you. I
all
don't know
right.
if Adebenga wants to try the puzzle. You like? You don't want to try the puzzle?
What puzzle is that?
It's on
The
the
puzzle
screen.
is on the screen. Why did the man give his wedding ring to the church?
Well, let me just try, like you
Okay.
said. Yeah, you see, before any church would wed a couple, they call for counseling. So the counseling shows restrictions, and maybe the restrictions are not comfortable with the man eventually. So he thought that he should return back the ring to the church.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh.
You've been laughing all along.
I'm so sorry. I'm like, should I stop him? Should I? Should I? I said because the church is the because the church is the ma represents Christ and the church represents the bride of no. Oh, what happened? Let me save. You know, when you started, I started laughing because I know the answer, you don't. And I'm like, hey, this is another preacher coming to preach to us. No. So I know where you're going. I think somebody mentioned that 3 weeks ago, but no, that's not the reason why a man gave his
Okay.
wedding ring to the church. No. Somebody even said so that the church can bless it before they wear it on the altar or something. I said, no.
Oh, was it before or after the
After. He's gotten
wedding? Okay.
married already, but it's his wedding ring now. He pulled out and gave it to the church. There's a reason why he did that. So think about
Clearly,
it.
the man is trying to end the relationship. He is
Sir?
ending the relationship. Yes, he can't continue with the marriage. And he is like, it's the church that guided me in this exchange of vows.
Nah, let
So
me see. I'll
he
put some
returns it,
Exactly what
and
I
it's a way
just
of
said.
saying it's over.
The thing is, the more I laugh, you should know you have not gotten it right. This one is very
Okay,
Spanish.
let's
The
go for
woman goes to church
let's
too.
listen to the answer there.
The woman goes to church too much.
Yes, that's a funny one. The woman is giving too much attention to the church.
So let
That's a
her go
good
and
one.
marry the church. Oh no.
That's a good
No,
one.
that's not the answer. Keep trying. It's a nice puzzle. By the time I explain it, if I'll tell you the answer, but not today. If nobody gets it, because I want somebody to get it so you can get the gift. So you have to keep coming back to insight until we give out the answer.
Yes.
But thank you so much for attempting. Thank you. Yeah, overthinking. Oh, maybe somebody's coming up to tell us. Okay, let's see. Mary left. I'm so sorry, Mary. I thought you came to stay with us today. Mary, if you're there, please send an invite. I still want to hear your views. And I know that not because you're married or not married, everybody can say something to this topic. I mean, regarding this topic. Mary, please.
I think we've
I
got
was just coming to her. Oh.
Andres. Hi.
Thank
Hi,
you for the
Andres.
heartbeat.
Are you able to
Are you
speak where you
there?
are, Andres?
I'm not sure.
Okay. What about as House spoken?
No, they
House.
just
Hi.
listen.
Good evening, House. They've gone quiet on
Good
us.
evening, everyone.
Hi. Good evening. Welcome. I'm not sure. Have you
Thank
been
you.
here since the beginning about our topic, infertility in marriage?
No, I think this is my first time of joining Funmi's live.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you very
So
much.
so we've been talking about infidelity in marriage,
Oh, now
and
don't clap for me. Oh, now today be my first time too. I be jealous.
Oh, I gave you the biggest one.
Now don't balance the equation.
Yeah, okay. Even with that, let me just say thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
welcome to all the first timers. Yes. So House, we've been talking about infidelity in marriage, and the damage that it causes, and how we can, raise awareness, and how we can help our relationships so that marriages can grow healthy. So, I mean, what do you think about it? Do you have any thoughts about it?
House.
Oh,
Let me see.
he's unmuted though.
House views. No, it's just
Can you hear me now?
Hi. We can
yes.
hear you now. Yes.
Oh, okay. I said that's a very interesting topic. Okay, when we talk about infidelity in marriage, I think it's more than like the physical infidelity, whatever sexual infidelity and all that. So there is also financial infidelity whereby the partners are not.
Welcome. Now you're speaking our language. Yes, thank you.
topic today. Emotional infidelity seems to be the topic. So yes, go on.
Yeah, whereby the partners are not transparent with their affairs and also
Yeah.
lack of disclosures. Um, One thing we just need to understand with marriage is that we anybody who chooses to call someone his or her partner must understand that is a journey of tolerance, a journey of commitment, a journey of forgiveness,
Yeah.
and a journey that we we have to understand that sometimes the road might be rough, and we must be open to
Yes.
accommodate every other person's thoughts, every other person's heart, listen to each other, communicate.
Yeah.
And
Hmm. I think maybe a call might just be coming in. Are
yeah,
you receiving
great
a
opportunity.
call, House?
Yeah. I just got it. Sorry
Ah,
about
Can
that.
you
okay.
close the calling app? Otherwise, it's going to start echoing. I don't know. There's even still an echo.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
do
okay.
that now.
Thank you. We do appreciate your time with us. Guys, if you're still there,
Yeah.
send an invite because we're going to be rounding up soon. Once everybody has spoken, yeah, please send an invite if you have something to share with us.
Yeah. House, are
Is
you
that
there?
Are you here for the
Yes.
gift or you're here to impact? No.
So what I'm saying in essence is that we just need to be open in regards to communication, be honest while we communicate with each other concerning our thoughts, our feelings. And also people should also seek like therapy, counseling, if need be, when it gets unbearable. Give give each other time or space to go and heal.
Yes.
Because when we absorb some things that happens in our marriage, it might get to a point that people becoming violent or becoming aggressive or even physical to one another. So that space we can create of healing can be crucial in the marriage. Um, Rebuilding trusts. Um, there's no marriage without trust. We must have to trust each other. Setting boundaries. What are the things that are bringing the infidelity? Have a discussion about it. Have a clear boundary to prevent it from happening.
Yes.
You know, forgiveness. That's I feel like that's the key thing with marriage as well. Communication. You see, um, we are not perfect.
Unending forgiveness. Unending forgiveness.
And then
Everyone.
forgiveness, clarity. Because there's something I told my partner. I told her that I I didn't meet you because you are perfect. I met you because you are not perfect, and I was looking for someone that is perfect, but that is not perfect like me, so that we can work towards perfection.
Yeah.
And so when you have that mindset that you are living in a world that you can't claim to be perfect, and there's no way you can be, and learning to be understanding, to forgive each other, and knowing that when you the other person knowing that, oh, if I forgive you for this thing today, you shouldn't be able to go back to that sin again tomorrow. You know, have conversations. And I feel like with these few things that I've said, if we put it in our marriage, it will really help us.
Thank you so much. Yes, definitely. You touch on. It's like you kind of did a summary for us, so that's really great. Talking about the boundaries, that we need to set about those things, and like you said, forgiveness. We have to learn forgiveness, and the important about asking for forgiveness is that you have to be willing to do the work and actually show remorse. There's no point asking for forgiveness if you can keep doing the same thing, because then the person's gonna feel like, well, you're not taking those tasks. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. Yeah,
Oh, sorry,
definitely.
now before we go to the next person, my one question after the talk, because I always give a talk for those who just joined it not too long ago. Now, let me ask House Views this question. Should infidelity end a marriage relationship? What's your take on that?
If infidelity ends marriage or relationship.
Should infidelity, whichever type of it, end a marriage relationship? What's your view about that?
Yes, there are some infidelity that does end marriage. However, I'm not an advocacy. I don't advocate that that should be
Thank you,
the
Papa.
trend. We
Mm,
we should have a communication, and that's why I talked about healing, because
Yeah,
obviously there are some things that people will do to you, will hurt you so bad,
yeah,
and just having that space of maybe 1 week, 1 month, or 2 months to just self-reflect, work on your mental health, work on your mental well-being, and have a thought process about what how did we even get here at first place. As because as the man is doing that, the woman is also doing that, that healing process, so that when you people reunite, it will create an avenue to actually understand better where each other went wrong, or where each other went astray, and be able to communicate that again, and that's a way forward to move on. For me, like I said, I don't advocate for that. However, there are circumstances that infidelity truly can lead to marriage failure.
oh, okay.
yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to hear your views on that. So now,
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask Patos, but I think the same message saying my dear, it's very late here in Germany. I'm going to bed. Okay. Good night
oh,
then.
okay. Oh, thank you,
Thank you.
Pato.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
coming out.
stopping
Good night.
by. I
Yes,
really
thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, okay.
Have a lovely night's rest.
Yeah. I mean, I think the question that you asked, can it, end the marriage? I
Should
think
infidelity end a marriage?
I mean, it's an individual choice, and like you said, it depends on the circumstances. Because, I mean, as Christians, we should always feel like we should be able to work through things with through communication stuff. But I feel like if one person is not willing, to make it work, then it's not going to work, is it? Because you need two people on board
Work
to kind of
together.
unpick what led to the infidelity in the first place. Because there's always some kind of trust issue going on for that to happen. One person not trusting the other person, or some unmet needs, or all the different causes. So you need to unpick that, and that takes work and takes time. And if one person is not willing to, then there's no way you can make that work. Marriage is a two people come together and make a covenant. If one person no longer want to continue with that, unfortunately, there's not much you can do about that.
I know.
But which in a way kind of then lets us to think that we should try our best not to find ourselves in that situation. And for me, I feel like if we focus on the causes and how these things can creep up into our relationship, then we can work on the things that we can do to avoid the traps, because we all accept that infidelity is not acceptable. All of us
Yes,
accept that.
nobody wants it, but we find ourselves in it.
Yeah, we all do. But but at the end of the day, it happens. So what is it that triggers these things to happen? And we all know that once trust is gone, it's very hard to rebuild. But do we want to find ourselves, in that situation? Because I'm thinking, even if I was to be the perpetrator of that, even I would not trust myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Might be the other person, yeah, because the other person might want to forgive me, but I might not want to forgive myself because of the guilt. You know what I'm saying? So the healing process takes both parties to kind of go through that. And so I think like focusing on those what led to those things is the crucial thing. But I think also like you talk about the communication. We should have a relationship where we feel emotional safety to be able to talk about our feelings, our thoughts, our fears, the challenges that we're struggling in our relationship. Whether it's somebody is putting on weight, and you're like, babe, I'm worried about your health. Maybe let's go to the gym together. Let's have a conversation. Why are you struggling? What's happening there? Have those conversations, because sometimes it's hard. It's hard for us to have the kind of conversations with one another, but we should, because if we want to get to the end goal of having a great marriage, a great relationship, let's say you found your rib, you found your left side, you're together. You don't want that to break. So if you want to continue with that, then you've got to put in the work. And I think that's the thing sometimes. People don't want to put in the work. Like, marriage like a tree, You have to nourish it. You have to pour into it. Like you said, you have to be intentional.
Water it.
Sunlight. Make sure the soil is good soil. Fertilizer sometimes. Sometimes you have to move it. You have to even move the tree, move it somewhere else, because it's not getting the nourishment that it needs. So you have to move it somewhere else. So all these things is required. So we have to be intentional. We have to be aware that we have to put in this effort, and we have to keep the communication. Just because someone says something to you, don't just instantly climb up and become, why are you saying that? Ask them, babe, what is it that you're feeling I'm not doing? Is there anything I can do to help? Or vice versa. Have those conversations. And also like setting boundaries is very important. I'm glad I think House mentioned that. Setting boundaries about our personal relationship with other people, because when I always think about that, like for example, how would you feel like somebody's talking to your husband or someone, calling them babe on a text, or darling, or referring to them as honey, or maybe another, the opposite sex, calling them a certain time of the day. All these things, they happen. They are common things. You have to have conversations about those things. Maybe when you were single, your ex used to call you darling, or whatever they used to call you honey, or whatever. But now you ain't single, so she cannot be calling you that. She cannot be referring to you as that. And as respect in our relationship, I expect you to put that boundaries, or tell her you can't be calling me this type, late at night. You can't be doing it. So these conversations has to be had if we are to continue in a happy relationship. So we can't dodge those things and be like, oh, I don't want to, you see the red flag and you pretend the red flag is not there, or the elephant in the room, like I always like to say. It will come. It will grow. The red flag will grow. The elephant will grow to the point you can't fit it in the room anymore. And then the two of you will be out of the room and the elephant will take over. That's not what you want. So we have to do these things. And, also, I was going to say, like, we have to take responsibility for each one. So, for example, in a relationship, I'm responsible for keeping that gate. That gate of allowing gaps to come in. I am responsible for it. And my responsibility to keeping that gate closed and that gap not to come is to be able to communicate with the other person about the things that concern me about a relationship, because I want it to move forward. So each person in that relationship is responsible for keeping the things that need to be kept out, so that the gaps don't open up and people start getting attracted to other people because they're getting the unmet needs from other places, So, I would say, we have to exercise patience. You have to exercise compassion. You have to exercise tolerance. Somebody already said that. You have to exercise forgiveness. And not to take people's forgiveness for granted. We also have to, gratitude. Actually, being grateful for the person that you have. No one is perfect. There's some things about your partner that you love, because if you found that your person, there's some things that they bring to you. So why would you want to put that in jeopardy to go and find, I always talk about people like this 80 to 20% or 80 to, you want to leave the 80% that you found that person to go and chase after that, small percentages out there. Yeah. Does that make sense? If you're the same person and somebody put that mouse in front of you, you'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. So why do we then put ourselves in that position where you go and chase after the little bit that's missing, rather than try to create what we're missing out and make it foster in a relationship that we have, so that we have the complete 100% in what we have between us and the other person. So, you know, we have to exercise those things and just love one another. You know, love, if you love yourself, if you love your partner, you want to hurt them. You want to make those emotional damage, you know, because I always think about the kind of betrayal that happens that people cannot overcome. It's because you just feel that deep sense of like, I've been vulnerable with you, I've opened up to you, and you were able to keep that away from me. You were able to do that. Like, who are you? you're obviously not that. Yeah, who are you? Like, please, I'm not saying who you are, because if you're able to do that, you're not the person that I'm in love with. You're not the person that I want to be with. You're not the person I committed to. You know, so we want to do that and make somebody think and feel that way about us. So let's us, you know, try our best. We're gonna get, you know, I'll say tempted. Temptations is all around. But if we acknowledge the temptations and we talk to our partners about those things, we can close the gap and we can be happy.
What exactly is keeping you in check?
What is keeping you in check? Yeah. What's keeping you in check is you have to be in check, and your check is to yourself. That what you're going to lose is far greater, you know. And also, like you said, also it doesn't just affect you and your partner. It's also the kids, the family that you've built, you know, the relationships that you've built, the extended, you know, maybe everyone comes to your house for Christmas. Now nobody's gonna come to your house for Christmas because there's you know, there's no happy, there's no peace in your house.
Too much to lose. Nah, too much to lose.
You can't quantify it. Too much to lose.
I see ultimate. I can't see the full name.
Where is that? Ultimate. Yeah. Hello. I think it's ultimate.
Ultimate lady.
Ultimate lady. Welcome.
Oh,
are you able to speak where you are?
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Are you just joining us? Oh, Scott.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about infidelity in marriage.
Yeah, I was listening.
Oh, you were listening. Okay. Do you have any thoughts you want to share, or are you just happy listening?
For now, listening now. If I have any.
No problem. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Join. Is it your first time, ultimate lady?
First time where?
Is it your first time on Insight?
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. We have to ask this thing because some names that I'm not really used to. We have to ask this thing because some names that I'm not really used to. There's so much echo now from your end.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something. I think I don't know. Can you try? Maybe if you drop and come back or something. It's just too much. Because you should be able to open your mic and me speak, and it should be fine. Okay, yeah. Just send a request when you come back, sis. Thank you so much. You're doing a good job. Thank you. You're making me relax a bit and, you know, think some more. And to people who are on the FY page, I know, like we said, it's a very sensitive topic. For some people to even come into the box to say anything, which we quite understand. And that's the essence of we coming here to talk about this in a space such as this. These are things that affect marriage relationships, you know. It happens. If we're in denial, it's a different thing altogether. But then it's happened. How do we move past it? What can we do, you know, to move past it? Is really what we are concerned about. And I do understand at the end of the day, the choice is yours. Some might say whatever the infidelity, whether emotional, financial, physical, whatever, they cannot live with that spouse again. We do understand. However, just know that, especially if children are not involved, maybe we might say, oh, everybody go their way or whatever. But when children are involved, that means you're splitting their lives also in two. Either they stay with mom today, stay with dad tomorrow. And, you know, these things have a way of impacting the children negatively. I'm not saying stay there and just accept whatever they dump on you. That's not what I'm saying. But however, that was why I asked that question at the end of my talk. Should infidelity end a marriage relationship? I wish I have couples who've been married for 40 years plus who would come and share certain things with us, because some of them have gone through it, they're still in that marriage, and their marriage has blossomed even better than what it used to be. Because that act of infidelity, I know it's a bad thing, but it kind of brought our light into their relationship. They can now sit and talk about how not to treat one another. They can come and sit about how we got here, how we would never want to get here again. And then the focus is both on both of them. And they now sit together. Delight was talking about communication, and they talk about everything and anything just so that they can enjoy that marriage relationship. And guys, I always say this, the reason why we're not seeing the goodness of marriage or in marriage is because you and I were not doing what we're meant to do. My husband is not perfect. I am not perfect. How have we done the journey almost 26 years? Sometimes I wonder, hey, is the time gone so quickly? Of course, there's been ups and downs, left, right, and center. But because the foundation to our mindset is we want a better home than our parents led, that we saw, that we grew up in. Of course, if I tell you, my mom has been separated, not divorced. She's been separated, let me do the math now, for over almost for, no, let me be sure, that's, yeah, 38 years or so. She still bears the husband's name, but they don't live together. They haven't lived together since I've been 9 years old. How is that a marriage? How is that enjoyable? How is that, what is that really? And of course, they had children together. We're all over the world, scattered all over the world. And I know that I don't want that life for me. So I have to be intentional about how I live in my marriage relationship, about what I do to my spouse, and also him from a broken home as well. It has to be intentional, how he treats me as well. Of course, we do have ups and downs, like I said, but should it be the end? If we're not talking, it might just be the end. Because even spouses that are hurt, with time, patience, tolerance, empathy, the right words, and all of those things, you can still win their heart back. But you can't do that, whatever the infidelity, and you feel, oh, please get over it. After I apologize, after I confess, after all this. No, you're not going to help your spouse to heal or get over it. So our approach to this act of infidelity, especially when it's happened, it really does matter a lot. It really does matter. How are you? You've done that. The deed has been done. How do you intend to help your spouse recover, heal? Thank you, healing. There's a whole lot of things to be considered if truly you still want that marriage to work. You can't come and still be doing bossy. Do that later on when your spouse is back to themselves. It takes time. That's what we talked about. Rebuilding trust takes a lot of energy, time, patience, a lot more than you put in before. So you really have to have that patience with your spouse if you don't want to lose them altogether. Imagine them coming to you to say that which you have told them. Would you be, oh, my wife, thank you for telling me. Okay, life goes on, all lovey-dovey. Let's be real with ourselves. I said, do unto others as you wish them do unto you. And do not do to people, do to your spouse what you don't want them to do to you. Forget whatever the excuses. Excuses are for failures, as I will always say. So let's be mindful how we treat our spouses. Talk about everything and anything. Who else do you want to talk about these things with, if not your spouse? Don't leave your spouse guessing. Is he angry? Oh, he's talking to that one. Should I be worried now? And all of that. They should be able to come to you to say, my dear, I'm actually worried about this person you're speaking with. I know it might be me or whatever. You don't know, you're checking them by even approaching them in that conversation, because you never know what's happening. You don't want to sit and be assuming. Assumptions are always negative. Face your spouse and talk about this. They may not even want to hear it. Oh, what is it? Is it just because of the one time? So I can't talk to this. I can't. Their response would even tell you a lot of things as well. So guys, I don't know how much we can extend tonight, but Ultimate, are you back? Ultimate lady, are you there with us?
Yeah, hello.
So we're going to be rounding off soon. I just want to hear something. I don't know, at least I've said one or two things. I don't know what has come to your mind as well, but if you feel you're still okay, it's all right as well. We do appreciate your coming in. There's a whole lot to talk about this issue, this topic. But at least we've brought it to the forefront today. So let's be mindful, let's be intentional, let's be positive in our actions. Too wrong does not make a right, as they say. Now, are you there? Are you back? I don't know if the echo is still there. If you're on mute and speak now.
Is it better? Is it
I
better?
don't even know.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm just wondering if that echo is still there.
No, with the phone today.
Yeah, it's all right because we're rounding up now. Just to kind of ask the question for the puzzle one more time. If there's any other thinkers,
This
not
puzzle,
overthinkers.
this puzzle is doing our head in.
Hey, it's fun for me. Oh. I'm sorry. I think I'm being selfish. I think, Benga, I don't know if any more ideas have come to mind. And Heartbeat 77, any more ideas? Why did the man give his wedding ring to the church?
No idea.
Heartbeat
Let's hear
77.
you.
You say?
Let's hear you.
No, I'm not telling us the answer today. We'll come back next Thursday. Because I want you to come back. Some people, their mind, they'll be like, no, I must. So come back next week. Maybe if nobody gets it next week, then I'll tell us the answer because it's honestly been going on for quite a while. So,
okay then.
Yeah. Yes, next week, Thursday, by the grace of God, we're going to be coming and talking about another topic that has to do with marriage. And for the newbies today, once again, thank you for this is so excited. I love that. Thank you so much. It's really fun having you on here today. And thank you for the insightful submissions. Everyone, I have to meet you now. I'm hearing myself. Ooh, I don't know what's happened with your phone today, but it's just re-echoing everything I'm saying. Thank you all so much for the gift, for the tap-ins, for your contributions, for the support, the people on the FY. I really appreciate all of you. My moderator who is in today, Coco. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, sis. House views, I see you, Delight. Thank you so much for your submissions as well. My prayer is that God will continue to help all of us. Marriage is not a bed of roses. It has bed of roses. It have thorns that we'll need to carefully prune out, without pruning out each other, so to say. God will continue to help all of us. Nobody's perfect, know that. I know mistakes do happen. We're not making excuses, but let's really think deep about it, self-reflect about it. If your spouse has dumped something on you regarding this topic, how best can you approach it? Sometimes, I think somebody said, and I've always said, counseling as well can help. It's a safe space where you can air your feelings, your views about how it happened, what happened, and all of that. And they help you manage so that your spouse can have a better understanding and the coping mechanisms as well. So it is well with us. Thank you all so much. Happy December in advance, because I'm not going to see you until Monday. Guys, for the newbies, I always come on Mondays, 8 p.m. UK time, and on Thursdays, 8 p.m. UK time. But on Mondays, we do general talks, just general talks. On Thursdays, that's when we talk about marriage relationship topics, so that, our lives are balanced. We're enjoying our marriages, not enduring. And I pray truly that God will give us the grace to live with one another in peace, in love, in harmony, in understanding, with patience, and all of the goodness that comes with marriage, So guys, thank you all so much. Thank you. Yes, I look forward to Monday as well. Oh, interesting topic. And enjoy the rest of November, 2 more days. Happy December in advance. And I will see you on Monday by the grace of God. Have a lovely night rest. God bless you guys. Thank you
you
so
very
much.
much, host. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Future in life. Bye. Bye to the newbies. Bye, Delight. Bye, house bees. Good night. Thank you. Thank you, guys.